Hey everybody, John Pollock alongside Jimmy Corderas. Maybe the smartest working referee out there, coming off a great appearance at House of Hardcore 9 over the weekend, which if you weren't in Toronto, 8-man tag, Jimmy Corderas brought out as a surprise referee replacement. Bigger reaction than the other 8 guys. All due respect, Jimmy, the Canadian crowd, they were very high on when Jimmy Corderas and his involvement on that show.
Well, it was a hometown thing, so I'll give it that, at least anyways.
It was a great spot, and maybe it'll be airing on Fight Network over the next little while.
Hey, maybe. Well, I won't. In case it does, I won't spoil it.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not give away the money spot from Jimmy Corderas. Right. But we're going to chat about Battleground coming up. Actually, it was on Sunday night in St. Louis. Very hot crowd throughout the entire show. I was very impressed with this crowd. It started off, I think it was actually a smart decision, putting Randy Orton in the opener. The crowd was very much into Orton, and it kind of just built. This crowd stayed with things, and you can nitpick the non-finish of the main event. That crowd loved The Undertaker showing up. Loved it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's almost like a bit of a too bad because stuff leaked out online prior the week, a few days prior to that. The surprise would have been nice, and I'm sure it was a surprise for a lot of people out there, but for those who tend to surf the internet a lot, it wasn't that much of a surprise, but it was still a cool moment, I thought. And I think Sean Waltman, X-Pac, said it best on Twitter last night: if you're ever going to do a non-finish on a main event of a pay-per-view, that's the way you do it.
Yeah, doing a non-finish like that on a pay-per-view, network special, whatever you want to call it, largely always guarantees you it's going to be a groan at the end. It's a way to get out of beating either guy. But this was a situation where, to me, I thought this was the best way to utilize a surprise, is that you want it to be not so unexpected that no one tunes in to see it. And I think that even if you were tuning in, there was still the question, is he going to show up? When he did, that crowd live at the Scottrade Center, they were just ecstatic to see The Undertaker. And I don't think there was a lot of heat on the company for not beating Rollins or doing just a trivial pinfall on Brock Lesnar, which is not a guy you want to be doing trivial pinfalls with. So I was fine with the way it was.
Me too.
It's clear that Brock Lesnar, Undertaker is going to be the direction for SummerSlam. Now, the roles that the two will be playing going into SummerSlam. I know the initial plan was it was going to be Undertaker as a heel going into SummerSlam. That was the complete opposite reaction he got Sunday night, and I think it's going to be interesting how the crowd reacts to The Undertaker, because that is not a character that this crowd, it's going to be easy to turn on.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of an interesting dynamic because it's not your traditional babyface heel kind of rivalry going on here with Brock and Undertaker. Brock came back as kind of like a babyface, so people assume that Undertaker in this role will be the heel. But it's kind of like a personal issue as opposed to, I did you wrong kind of thing. This is really
I think the low blow spot was designed to kind of tip the hand that you're supposed to be backing Brock Lesnar here, but the way the tombstones are delivered, that crowd, they could not have been more pro Undertaker on Sunday.
I think this is going to be one of those situations where the crowd will be split at SummerSlam, maybe 50-50, or even maybe leaning a little towards Undertaker because he has earned that respect.
Now, the other finish that everyone was debating, John Cena going over clean with the STF over Kevin Owens. Owens tapping out. It was another very strong match between the two, but this looks to be the end of that program. And coming out of this, Jimmy, the babyface that was protected the most and the strongest coming out of this is John Cena. Seth Rollins, he needs somebody to headline SummerSlam with, and I would venture to guess that John Cena is that guy. And that would be the argument for him defeating Owens so soundly.
Well, that does make perfect sense, but going back to the finish of the match especially, and people complaining about Kevin Owens and not getting put over, so to speak, in this match and not winning the title, there hasn't been anybody in I don't know how long who has been booked better against John Cena than Kevin Owens, save maybe a Brock Lesnar who did the big damage to Cena last year. That being said, people complaining about the tap out as well. I go back to when you talk about heels and baby faces, Kevin Owens is a throwback to a traditional heel. So traditional heels, they tap. That's what they do. They give up. They don't pass out. That's the cool heel kind of thing. So I didn't have a problem with him tapping out. And I think this, when you talk about putting someone over and getting someone over, there's a little bit of a difference there. Cena got Kevin Owens over, and he's a bigger star because of it.
A late addition to the card was a 6-woman tag involving the 3 NXT call-ups, actually 2 of them because we had Becky Lynch out there on the floor, but Charlotte and Sasha Banks, no less, getting to participate in their first pay-per-view event. How did you think this came across?
It was fine. I mean, it wasn't like spectacular, but it was a nice change. It's a little bit different. It's showing a little different direction with the Divas division. I think they're on the right track. I know you guys were talking about it on the law. I'm a little skeptical about Stephanie McMahon being the one to initiate the Divas revolution, so to speak, and I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, it's nice to see the revolution taking place, but let's not jump, both feet in. I like that it's slowly developing.
Yeah, Charlotte wins the 3-way in St. Louis, no less, and Ric Flair was there backstage. I mean, Flair in St. Louis with his daughter. I mean, something could have been done there.
I wonder if he was crying.
I think the venture to guess, that's probably a very safe bet. Battleground, where are your thumbs for this show?
Thumbs up. I enjoyed it. It was a nice bridge towards SummerSlam.
All right, setting up a lot of big stuff for SummerSlam. We'll be chatting about that in the weeks to come. For Jimmy Corderas, I'm John Pollock. Stay tuned for more of Fight News Now.